Best time to work out in Ramadan is probably one of the most popular questions I get leading up to Ramadan. So I want to do my best to try to answer the question for you so you know exactly what to do. Welcome to the Healthy Muslim Show. So today we're going to be covering the best time to be working out. So now one thing I want you all to remember is that everyone's schedule is different. Things go up and down and things are going to move around for you, and that's perfectly fine. But you still want to have an idea of when the best time for you is. So what I want to do is give you 3 different times that's going to work, that's going to allow you to be consistent, because we all know the best time is going to be the time that you're going to be able to be consistent. If I tell you the best time to work out is at 7 p.m. and that time's not available, it's not the best time anymore. So the best thing to do for you first and foremost is try different times, sit down, look at your schedule, try to figure out what's going to work for you. And then from there, you'll be able to figure out the best case scenario that's going to allow you to be consistent throughout Ramadan. Remember, you're not just working out for the first few days of Ramadan. You want to make sure you're consistently working out week in, week out. First and foremost, you don't need to do more than 3 workouts, really. Especially if you're busy, you're a parent, you have little ones at home. You already have a busy schedule. In Ramadan, we want to be able to do more ibadah. So the first thing to keep in mind is that how much time are you going to be taking away from other things? The goal of a workout, especially in Ramadan, is to increase your energy, is to make you feel better. And that way you're able to do more ibadah. And then ultimately the biggest goal is spirituality, is nearness to Allah. So what we can do is use our workouts to help increase our energy. So that way we are able to do more ibadah and do more in the month of Ramadan. So the 3 times that you should be working out in Ramadan. First and foremost, it's going to be a little bit more advanced. I did this, especially in the summer Ramadans. They were not easy to do. So it's not something I recommend for everybody off the bat, but it is something you can definitely try. It's right after Dhuhr Salah. The reason why I recommend this time is because one thing to always keep in mind is that you have a long fast coming up. But that does not mean that your workout needs to drain you. Your workout should be giving you more energy. It should have helping you be more focused. And so in Ramadan, your workout shouldn't be putting you through a wall. Remember, putting on muscle and getting stronger, those aren't hard things to do. Instead, in Ramadan, you want to be able to take a step back. It's a great time to be able to really focus on fundamentals, on a foundation. So if you're just starting out working out, great, that's awesome, because you get a chance to really focus on the foundational aspects of your workouts instead of trying to go, all out and trying to put yourself through a wall and be drenched in sweat. Instead, what you want to be able to do is focus on hip mobility, focus on your shoulder stability, focus on strengthening your core, all things that are great that you should be doing anyway. So even if you're advanced, you should have periods of time throughout the year that you take a step back and focus on the foundational aspects of your body. So it's really, really important that you take that time out, and Ramadan kind of builds it in for us for the year. So after Dhuhr, it's a chance you're not going to have food and water available to you, so it's going to keep your ego in check, so you're not going to be able to go all out. On top of that, you're going to be able to get in a good 30-40 minute workout that's going to allow you to actually increase your energy afterwards. So for anyone who's done this, they will be the first one to attest that they actually feel better for the rest of the fast that's remaining. The second one that I always recommend people, and this is going to be the most popular one, is right before Iftar. So just a little bit after Asr Salah, but this time, one thing to keep in mind when it comes to this time is that you're going to be getting ready for food and you're going to be preparing your dinner, your iftar. You're going to be, spending a little bit more time with family and so forth, because, Ramadan becomes a very communal time. It's a time when people get together and so forth. It's also probably one of the few times throughout the year where everyone comes together and actually has a meal together. So that's something to keep in mind, is that you don't want to delay that time and miss that time with family and then miss the ibadah time as well. So try to have it a little bit earlier, so that way you can get back at least an hour, 40 minutes before iftar, so that way you can spend time in ibadah, especially because it's, there's a lot of barakah in that time before iftar. And on top of that, you get a chance to spend time with family as well. This time will allow you to be able to push a little bit harder, because you're going to have food and water available to you. You're going to be done work. Your schedule is going to be a little bit more free around that time. So it works really well. Don't worry about losing muscle and losing strength. There's 2 ways to be able to build and and preserve muscle, and that's protein intake and resistance training. Resistance training can mean, working out, strength training, etc. Adding resistance to the muscle, that has a huge impact. But remember, these 30 days, the goal isn't to get big and strong. That's not what Ramadan should be for when it comes to your fitness. The goal during this time should be to reestablish and or build a solid foundation. And one example I always give people is, think of an archer. The further back you pull back, the further that arrow will go. All of my workouts and how I feel a million times better after Ramadan in my workouts, because what I've done is taken a step back. So again, even though you don't have food and water available to you, it's a great time to be able to work out while you're fasting before you break your fast, because again, you're not going to go all out, but it's still going to allow you to really benefit from it. And no, you're not going to lose massive amounts of muscle and strength and so forth. The third time is basically any time after Iftar and before Fajr. I'm not the biggest fan of this time, only because it's going to impact your sleep. Your sleep is already going to be impacted no matter what. Because Suhoor kicks in very early, Iftar can be relatively late, plus you have Taraweeh. Depending on the Hafaz that's leading, if they're reading a little bit slow, you might get home a little bit later in the day. So the one thing to keep in mind is that as you get home, you might not be able to get to bed in time for you to be able to get sufficient sleep. So your sleep is going to be affected. Now, if you're working out really late at night, your central nervous system is firing, and especially if you've had caffeine of any kind, then you're all hyped up. Yes, you might be able to go to sleep, but that doesn't mean you're able to get into deep sleep. Remember, the benefits of a workout don't come during the workout. It happens during recovery. So recovery is by far the most important. It's why my workouts aren't all out during Ramadan, because I know I'm not going to have sufficient time to recover from such a strenuous workout. But I can recover from, say, half that type of workout or a quarter of that type of workout, where I'm working on mobility and working on building up strength and other areas that I might not have focused on. That I can recover from and reap the benefits from. But if I go all out, I'm not going to be able to reap the benefits 100% that I would have liked anyways, because my sleep is going to be affected. Your nutrition, your window for getting sufficient protein intake is smaller. So the one thing to keep in mind is, and you see this for especially younger people, university and high school, they become nocturnal. I was guilty of that too. And so the one thing you want to make sure you're remembering is that you want to try to get your workout done before Iftar. If the only time you have available is after Iftar and say later on at night, that's fine. But remember, your sleep is really, really important. So the sooner you can get to bed, the more important it is, especially with your recovery. And especially if you want to see results, your recovery is of the utmost importance. However, as you get older, it becomes even more and more important. So that does not mean that you can't see results. So whether you're getting into your 30s, 40s, or 50s, it does not mean that you can't see results. You can still see amazing results. You just have to be a little bit more mindful of your recovery. So that's why when it comes to your workouts, 3 times is great. So if you schedule, let's say Monday, Thursday, Saturday, you're giving yourself enough time to be able to recover and for you to be able to get back into the workout that you feel great. If you want to add an extra one, that's not a problem at all. Just remember, try to understand how you feel. If you're feeling more energized, if you're feeling better, awesome. You can add another one. But if you feel good and you're like, I want to be able to stay at this, perfectly fine. Starting is the biggest thing. Making sure that you're showing up consistently, that's what's going to matter the most. And last but not least, making sure you're getting your steps in every single day is going to be really, really important. Making sure you're walking every single day, 15, 20 minutes is going to play a huge factor in helping you lose weight and feel a lot better when it comes to your fast. And in the description below, we have a free guide to help you have a healthier and more energized Ramadan. Now, if you have any questions, concerns, feel free to reach out to me. My name is Belal. You can find me on social media, Stronger with Belal, or our website, thehealthymuslims.com. Stay tuned for the next episode.